Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. If you guys want to see how I got this makeup look, be sure to keep on watching. First things first, real raw skin, okay? Your girl is breaking out in a couple places. Always moisturize before doing my makeup. After that, I put on this Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. It's very good at moisturizing and then just catching any of those dry patches that I might have missed. Let that sink into my skin for a good 3 minutes and I'll do my eyes or something. But once that sinks in, I'm gonna use the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. This one just really smooths and blurs and just sinks into those pores and those fine lines. And then I normally like to wait just a minute. That way I know it settles in at least. And normally if I don't let them sit, they'll start to separate and like cause film on my face. And we don't want that, obviously. For a more full coverage base, if I know I'm going to be out like all day, I'll go in with my Estee Lauder Double Wear. For right now, still a more even skin tone, medium coverage, but very natural, dewy. We're going to go in with the House Labs. This is such a pretty foundation. It goes on so good. Just go in, put a little dot here and here. So I go in with the flat brush and I just spread everything everywhere where it's gonna be. And I'm gonna be going in with a brush after this. I'm obsessed with this foundation brush. It looks like this. It's the TEO Y'all brush. Hold on. I literally got it off of Amazon. It is so good. Okay, I'm gonna blend this and I'll be right back. After foundation, I go in with all my contour concealers. I really love how creamy this Ulta Beauty foundation stick is. I use this for contouring. This is in the shade medium. I go right here. Just bring it down like that. And mind you, this is gray tone because this is the shading. This isn't making me bronze or anything. This is contouring. Go underneath my chin. Just a little bit under my lip. And then I kind of almost make a triangle coming down here and on my nose. Sometimes I put some on my cheeks, but normally I just like that to be bronze. But this is so creamy, you guys. For bronzer, I use the LA Girl Pro Conceal. So I go in with the slightest bit on my cheeks, right above the cheekbone. And I'll go in with a little bit on the nose, a little bit right here, and then right underneath the lip. I have my brush that I use for this. Blend everything out. I always start with the contour first because I don't want to put the bronzer where I already have contour. The contour gets dragged down because you want to create that shadow, and then the bronzing gets dragged up because you want that bronze. So I try to keep it where it's at for the most part, but obviously all while blending it out. Normally I'll leave it just like that because we are going to go in with concealer anyways. For concealer, I really love the Morphe Filter Effect. I'm using the shade 8 and then the shade 6 to really highlight. I use the shade 8 and I kind of just a very little bit go there. The slightest bit here because I get some redness on my chin sometimes. And then right up here. This is just because I half-assed my forehead anyways. I let that sit for a couple seconds. Going in with a beauty blender. For the most part, keeping it where I put it. I don't try to spread it out too much. And really what this one is, I don't put foundation underneath my eyes. I try to make sure I don't really get it in there. Because I don't want too much layering if I'm already using powder and liquids and creams, you know? So I really just try to keep it right underneath my under eye. Let me blend this, hold on. Now when I'm doing my blush, I really only use the powder. I used to do creams, but it just felt too heavy. For highlighting, we're using the shade Light 6. And then with this one, I'm a bit more precise. I really bring this real up in my inner corner. Just like that. Same on the other side. And then I'm just going to put the very bottom. I love the button nose. And then just to accentuate my cupid's bow, let this dry down just a little bit. And then we're going to blend it out. Blending it out, I use a different beauty blender just because I don't want any of this other product on it. This one I specifically use for this like whitish concealer. But like I said before, keeping it where it is. Just barely tippy tapping it. Once we add the powder and everything, it all blends together, okay? I go in, I start blending it, really trying to keep it towards that inner corner. To really get in there, I use just a smaller one and smooth it all out. As soon as I'm done with my under eyes, I go in with the Essence All About Matte Compact. get my little triangle powder thing. I double check, make sure it's blended under there. There's a crease. Blend that out, and then I immediately go in with my white powder. Now you don't have to do this, but like I said, this is my base routine, okay? Doing the same thing to the other side, making sure there's no creases. And then immediately going in with this powder. And what I like to do, I like to take the little bit that's remaining on here and then just set right around my mouth. Now I'm going to go in with my ColourPop pressed face powder in the shade 10. Just go around the outer perimeter. And then I put a little bit on my nose because we're going to end up putting powder and blending it, baking anyways, so it just helps. We're actually going to start with the nose first. So what I like to do is I like to get an angled brush like this. She's still a little fluffy. I'm going to use this Hoola bronzer. This is a sample I got way back when. I go underneath my nose right here, making sure there's not too much on your brush, and then just bring it in right here, creating that triangle again. And then that's literally all I do for that. Now that's using the Hoola one. We're gonna use another one. You know how I put the gray toned contour on the side of my face? I like to go in with a gray powder just to make sure I'm setting that. And then go underneath the chin to actually bronze myself up a little bit because I haven't been feeling it. I'm gonna use the Laguna 2 NARS Little Baby. I'm gonna just use this small brush, placing it and then blending upwards. Once again, placing it and then blending upwards. Since my under eye was already set, basically, I'm just gonna go in with the Morphe translucent powder to bake using that same powder puff. I'm gonna put a little bit on my chin just because I get oily there. And like I said, it's gonna cake on so that redness doesn't shine through. Do a little bit on my forehead, my T-zone because I get oily there as well. I'm gonna put just a bit under each of these eyes, but really keeping it targeted right here. I'm not gonna drag it out or anything, just because I wanna keep that brightness. And then we're gonna make that triangle. And then I'm gonna put a little tiny dot on the bottom of my nose. Put some on my upper lip. And this is my version of baking. Sometimes I'll go on the side and I'll just like put the slightest sliver just so the colors are separated. I know it sounds weird, but just bear with me. Obviously just wiping this off, and I don't wipe it, I pat it in. That way I'm getting as much product to stay on my face. Once again, I know it sounds scary, okay, but it's okay. You have setting sprays to melt this all together. Same thing with my nose. I pat the whole way. I wipe off what's on my brush and then I go back into patting. For blush, I really like this Revolution makeup palette. Looks like this. We are going to use the shade 7. This one right here. I like to go right here, right underneath the eye, and then blend that up. And then I'm going to blend it out just a bit. Put it right like on my nose, just for a little oomph. For highlight, I don't really highlight my cheeks as much anymore, but I'm going to be using the ColourPop Stole the Show Super Shock highlighter. But normally now, I just highlight the tip of my nose and my inner corners. That's about it. So I just put it at the tip of my nose. Literally, like I barely touched it. Then I just use my finger to blend it out. And then I keep going just to make sure it's where I want. Then I'm just going to put that on my inner corners. Once again, bringing all the focus over here. It also just makes your eyes look snatched as fuck. Sometimes I'll do my top lip, but we're not for right now. So for setting spray, no matter what, I always start off with my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. This just melts everything together. I try not to move because I don't want to crease anything. I get my little fan and just let it all dry down. And so since my face has been pretty dry, I go in with the Iconic London Prep Set and Glow. same thing. Normally after this, I'll just leave it, or depending on what I'm doing, I'll go in with my all-nighter spray. Let me just put on some lashes and some lip products, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, this is the finished look. Let me get you a close-up. That is all for today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, do the damn thing. You know what I'm talking about. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!